watching Scrooge-tober.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 30 of the Scooch Podcast, the spookiest podcast on the interweb.
Ooh.
I'm here with Fizzgig once again.
Hello.
And we also have a special guest. A tumor on my tongue.
Yeah.
Not really
The big
a tumor.
U.
But I don't know, like, it feels like the feeling of Gabriel on whatever her name was. Have you seen Malignant yet?
I haven't. I'm going to, though. It looks so bad. I will say this, though. Every time the Malignant trailer came on, and like, sometimes it would just be like the short one, and it would just be the guy going, Malignant. It made me laugh, because as a title, it's really dumb.
Okay.
I'm aware of the premise, though. It's a guy on the head. Oh, I need to turn down my mic.
Yeah, and I just feel like there's like a little guy on my tongue, and I'm gonna
like
sound
basket
kind of
case.
silly this episode. I'm gonna sound like Daffy Duck, and I'm gonna be a little more reserved because I just can't enunciate too well without being in pain. But there's another talking point I wanted to say. Oh, I will spoil Malignant a little bit for you.
Mm-hmm.
The first two acts are pretty boring.
I've heard, and then the last one is just full schlock.
Yeah,
It turns into like the Matrix, I've heard.
Yeah, you're gonna like it.
I wasn't excited for it, and then I saw some reviews for it, and I was like, all right, this might be right up my alley.
Yeah. It kind of sucks that, like, with like word of mouth and the internet existing, some of that's kind of spoiled for you. Because
honestly, I wouldn't have watched it without that.
Scooter and I watched it like blind, like right when it came out. So there was like, no, we're just going off kind of the trailer. So, and the trailer is very misleading to what the actual movie is. So it just seems like a giant James Wan troll.
Damn, I like James Wan.
Yeah.
You know, I do and will talk a lot of shit about those Conjuring movies, but
yeah, I don't like.
They're actually better than a lot of other crap. So,
for instance, I don't know. I just love the charm of B horror movies more than the I've already discussed this before on our Malignant episode, but The Conjuring is just so sterile.
Yeah,
it just bores me to no end.
Actually, I meant to talk about Conjuring last time we talked about Evil Dead, because I was going to point out that, like, my favorite, like, I can tell that there's a lot. James Wan has a lot of influences from, like, cinema history and stuff, and I can see his Evil Dead influences, and I would say my favorite parts of the Conjuring movies are the parts that make me think of the Evil Dead.
Which I'm
thinking
of
both.
both
At the end of the first one, when they have the mom in the basement and they're performing the exorcist on her or whatever. It felt very Evil Dead too, with, like, I don't know, the way she was like floating around the room and stuff.
I could kind of see maybe like a little bit of his camera movements as well, because you know how, like, I think it's just about, like, in every movie he has like a 360 pan shot like around all the characters. He does have good camera work, and you'll see that Malignant as well.
To make a superhero movie, so that's why I'm glad they gave him Aquaman, because that man, I don't know how he went in. I guess Saw, but I don't know how he got stuck in horror, because he has such an epic and, like, clean scope. With, like, I don't know. I guess I'm thinking specifically of the way his movies are shot. They're shot like superhero movies, I feel like.
That makes sense. I still haven't seen Aquaman, but what did you think about it? Okay. So maybe he shouldn't make a superhero movie.
Maybe he shouldn't.
Which, then again, to his credit, it's about Aquaman.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
there you go. It speaks for itself.
I do.
I can't believe.
Still
anyway, before the episode begins, you can support us through our Anchor link for just $2 a month. You get exclusive content. Sweet, that's just all I wanted to say.
Very nice.
Today we're talking about Minions.
No, the scariest movie of all.
Did I get the script wrong? Is it not Minions today?
You're close.
Let me check the calendar because there's one day we're supposed to talk about Minions.
Okay, let me ask you this: would you rather your house be infested with Minions or Gremlins?
Minions, 100%.
Yeah, because Gremlins will kill you. You'll die.
Well, okay. A serious answer, because there's always a meme that I like Minions.
Yeah.
Serious answer is Gremlins before they get fed before midnight. They're super cute. Yeah, they're super cute, especially Gizmo. Cute. I just want to cuddle that little bastard.
I want to talk about their cuteness, especially when we get to the second one.
Yeah. So, Gremlins. Made in 1984.
Yes.
If I remember correctly. Directed by Joe Dante. Yeah.
One of the movies that created PG-13. Because it wasn't quite child enough to be PG, and it wasn't quite hard enough to be R, so it is PG, but it's part of the reason that they were like, we need a new subsection.
I can't remember because we talked for like 7 hours that day.
I think that was in the Evil Dead. I think that was
in the podcast?
I can't remember if that was in our discussion before, after, or during.
Yeah.
I think it was during, though.
Okay. Because I do remember.
Because we were talking about how Evil Dead was NC-17.
Right. But did I bring up the question about what should be PG-13? Because it did seem like we talked about like instances like Jaws and Beetlejuice off the air, but I could be totally wrong because that is a 2-hour podcast.
I can't remember what we talked about on the podcast.
That'll be a Q&A on this Spotify episode. Do you remember this conversation?
Did we? Is this nonsense?
Is this ringing any bells?
Let us know.
I think that is a cool new feature.
That's pretty cool.
If you're online and you don't just download the episodes for offline use, but if you listen online, you can scroll down on the little, like while you're playing it, and there's like some Q&A stuff you can answer. Pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Thanks, Spotify. So, what should we say about Gremlins? Gosh, that sounds ridiculous. This episode.
Especially the first one, I love it. I think that it's a solid, like, stepping stone horror movie, if that makes sense.
Kind of like kids getting into horror, like it's I can see that because it's still kind of like a family movie, in a sense.
It doesn't there's never like a lot of blood or like actual like there's never like there's a couple moments where there is like some pretty tense scenes, but I would say there's no like graphic violence really in it. All of the violence
I say it's on par with like the Goonies in terms of like mature content.
Actually, I got it. I own Gremlins 1 and 2 in a 3-movie bundle that is Gremlins 1, Gremlins 2, and the Goonies.
And Goonies.
Yeah.
It still has that tone of just like being a family movie.
Yes.
And I now see what you and J Mash meant about it being a Christmas movie.
Yes. So it's absolutely a Christmas movie.
Although I didn't really get all the feeling, maybe because it's October, but I just like really didn't get all that feeling that it was a Christmas movie just because it was set.
Yeah.
In Christmas.
They don't fully use the fact that it's Christmas.
Right. It's just like not a placeholder, but it just happens to be the saying, but it doesn't focus on it too hard.
Which I never noticed as a kid, but in rewatching, I have noticed or I have thought about like why I mean, I'm sure it's been said a million times, but when the Gremlins are running through the snow, how is that not them getting wet? You know what I mean? Like. Yeah,
exactly. Because that is.
Yeah, it's also very clearly fake snow. Like.
Right.
It's Hollywood snow.
But yeah, I guess for if we haven't discussed in the previous podcast, this was my first viewing.
Oh, I didn't. I did not know that this was your first time seeing them. Oh my god.
Well, if you go back to our Christmas episode,
We discussed that, and I completely dropped it. My bad. That was almost a year ago.
No, it's all good. I'm just gonna remember this moment forever.
So, I have insane nostalgia for Gremlins because that was same thing with Goonies. Like I loved it as a kid, and so like whenever I go back and watch it, I worry that is clouding my judgment. But now, as somebody that's seen it as an adult, tell me what your thoughts were.
Okay, so I know about Gremlins because it's just so ingrained in pop culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew all the rules of like don't get them wet, don't feed them before midnight.
After midnight.
Don't have bright lights on them.
Yeah, they don't like bright light.
So you want kind of like a second opinion, if you will, if like your feelings are validated.
Do you think it holds up? Do you think
okay, yeah. Yeah. Let me just dissect it for you.
Go for it.
I still think everything holds up, even the fake snow you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's just kind of seamless to me. I didn't really pay close attention to it. It looks good for a 1984 film. Like, if you told me this was released in like the mid 90s, I would probably believe you if it wasn't for like the hairstyles, of course.
Yeah.
But just strictly of how like the camera looked and the effects of the Gremlins, I'd be like, oh yeah, I could buy that.
Yeah.
But I will say, I do think it's a tad too long for its own good. I think the Gremlin montage in the third act goes on for way too long.
With them in the bar, or just them like terrorizing people?
Just the Gremlins in general, just wreaking havoc.
See, that to me is my favorite part. That's my favorite part of both the Gremlins movies is when the Gremlins just.
I understand that, and I enjoyed it as well. I just think it dragged on too long. I was like, all right, you could probably wrap it up because this is getting close to 2 hours. This could have easily been an 80-minute movie.
Yeah. Well, apparently
so it was felt like some extra fat.
It was longer. Like the script was much longer.
Oh my goodness.
Judge Reinhold's character had like a whole like side plot in the bank. Like there was gonna be a part where the Gremlins took over the bank, and Zach Galifianakis is not Zach Galifianakis. What's his fuck?
Zach Gaffigan?
Zach Gaffigan. What's his character's name? Billy Peltzer.
Yeah.
He was going to like break. They were going to like break into the bank, and then the owner of the bank and Judge Reinhold were going to like lock themselves in the vault to like get away from the Gremlins. And there was gonna be a whole thing there, but then they ended up cutting it for whatever reason. For time,
probably because it's already too damn long. Yeah. but hear us out, Hollywood, for Gremlins 3. Add Zach Galifianakis in there.
Yes, and just don't. He's Billy Peltzer. Don't say anything. Just don't. Just doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. He would be like 50 right now, wouldn't he? Or possibly older, and which around Zach's age. So
yeah,
just have that be Billy.
Yeah,
that would be awesome if you ask me. Like, I'm not even like a huge Zach Galifianakis fan, but he's just kind of like,
he's a funny guy.
I don't know. He just has that cheap comedy.
I'm not a big Zach Galifianakis fan either, but like everything I've seen in him, I've been like, that guy's funny.
Yeah, he's funny. Even in like something so stupid and schlocky like Due Date.
Yeah. He's funny.
Which is pretty much a terrible movie, but it makes me laugh. It makes me laugh, but it's like a 3-star or a 3 out of 10
movie.
Which one?
The Between Two Ferns.
I did see that movie.
I think that movie's very funny. I don't know. I really liked Between Two Ferns, and then
he's like,
the movie was funny.
Road tripping like cross country. Yeah. I mean, it did kind of. I mean, this could just probably be an episode on its own.
Yeah, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, but I think it kind of ruined the Between Two Ferns kind of thing. God, I sound ridiculous in this episode. I cannot wait till this ulcer goes away.
I was gonna say I can see that the movie is maybe a little too long, but I don't know. For me, like we talked about this with Evil Dead, creativity is a big thing for me, and I don't know. There's so many like creative, weird things in this movie that like every time I watch it, I'm just enjoying it. like just talking about purely visuals, I love the look of the cocoons the gremlins grow into.
Yeah.
And I mean, even the look of the gremlins in this one is like, they're fucking scary looking.
Mm-hmm.
And they look good. Like they look like a real
nightmares
thing
to children. Yeah.
It doesn't look like a stupid puppet. It looks like a real fucking creature. Both of them. Yeah, and that's what I said. It just
holds up.
Yeah. What's your favorite like gremlin fight or like thing that happens in the movie, like sequence?
I like, I mean, this is probably not the answer you're looking for, but I really like the jingle that Gizmo sings. I just love it. It's so good. The score throughout these two movies I really like the
as well. Theme.
Yeah. There's something so. It's like I'm not even nostalgic for the 80s because I didn't live in that time. Yeah. I mean, I hardly lived through the 90s at all, but there's just something so magical about like 80s media.
I will say, and I'm the same way. I didn't live through the 80s, so I don't have nostalgia for it. But what I think it is I think that it was like the perfect thing where it's like the money of studios and the freedom of the creative like just perfectly met, and we got like so many great movies because it like somehow they just found this perfect balance. And now I think that it's grown to where the money is too much. Like the money controls too much.
Right. Yeah. Not only that, but there's now just like this whole political agenda that a movie has to fit into.
Yeah.
And that wasn't really in the 80s. No. Although there were some, it wasn't without that, because there were the censors that would like censor heavily just the most stupidest stuff in film.
Nasties.
Right. But yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot more creativity and just a sense of just magical feeling.
There's also, I mean, this isn't necessarily Gremlins, but there was like a lot of indie movies got wide releases, like Evil Dead, indie movie. It ended up getting a pretty good release and then ended up becoming a classic. Terminator, small indie film. They were shooting that like without permits, which is very funny to think of James Cameron doing. But then somehow it got I think that it really only popped off once it like reached VHS. But that was like one that I don't know, like today, if Terminator got made the way it got made today, it would just get buried in Amazon or Netflix and nobody would ever see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, fun fact, is currently one of the free titles on YouTube, like officially from YouTube.
Terminator?
Yeah, the first one.
Oh. Big Terminator fan. Oh, I know this is off topic, but
totally free, folks.
Do you consider the first Terminator a horror movie?
It certainly does have that tone.
Because I was having this argument with my roommates.
Call it that.
Because they were like, no, it's like an action movie. I was like, no, it's a slasher. Like, there's
right.
Like, as a character, there's really no difference between the Terminator and the first Terminator and like Michael Myers as just like evil force that won't stop until it kills whoever it wants to kill.
Right. Yeah, totally. I mean, like I said, I could see that with like the tone, but just like, I don't know, subjectively, I don't see it as like a horror film.
I guess that's fair.
But I could certainly see if someone said it, like you, for instance, I wouldn't like
disagree.
I wouldn't go fight you in the yard about it.
But to get back to Gremlins.
Could you imagine like us butting heads over Terminator's horror film?
It's a fucking... It's a drama. It's a romantic comedy, asshole. I'm just like, okay.
Well, if you want to see like the official genre, they put it in sci-fi action.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess I can see that.
Yeah. That would be a funny sight to see.
But I was gonna say I think my favorite sequence is either the kitchen sequence when the mom comes down and there's the one in the kitchen, and she she microwaves one of them, puts one in a juicer, and then she takes the sword off the wall and cuts another one's head off, right?
Yeah.
God, bad. That's so like, I love all of that.
Yeah.
The way they just like keep coming out of like drawers, and one of them's in the Christmas tree. I don't know.
So are the Gremlins just like World War II, like guerrilla tactics from the Chinese?
I'm not sure. I know that because I can't remember his name either. The old guy,
the drunk veteran
at
the bar,
whose name I should know because he is a B movie, 80s B movie like legend. Like he before Joe Dante made like studio films, and he was making like B movie stuff. He was in like all of his B movie stuff. That actor, but he's like talking about like in World War II the Gremlins in the plane. I know that was like a thing. Like whenever there was like a malfunction in the plane, it was like chalked up to Gremlins, which I think are like a German folktale thing, and they like to fuck with technology. I'm not sure.
Oh, I think I just remember. I could be remembering, but I think the guy, he was talking about how it was like used in World War II to like
WWII. That's what he calls it.
Just make machines not work, and I don't know. I thought that was kind of like a funny tidbit because I just. I'd never seen this film. I was like, that is kind of like an interesting angle that the Chinese made these creatures to like just fuck with.
Maybe. I guess that's fair. They didn't get it from a Chinese, an ancient Chinese store.
Yeah, in Chinatown.
I've never. I don't know.
And don't their like species name have like a Chinese?
It's Mogwai, like Chinese
name? Yeah.
Here's something I've always wondered about Gremlins. Why are they all like they're all immediately mean except Gizmo?
Gizmo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could just be, just
we need that for the story.
Sake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Which I guess I don't know. Could you argue in the second one, that really derpy one, would you call him evil inherently? Just kind of like there's out of his mind, more insane than like evil.
The energetic one is also because that's the one that they accidentally bring home.
Right.
I guess he's not.
Well, yeah.
He even like listens to them. Or even like, hey,
about,
if you ever want to get out of this purge, you'll stop, and then he stops. And
yeah. That was the one I was talking about, but I do
get that one in the derpy now. Confused, yeah.
Yeah. Because there's that other one that's just like,
yeah,
which I love. But does he do anything evil besides like just ruin that cooking show? Like I don't really.
Yeah, but they only do that after they turned into Gremlins.
Right. I guess they all just kind of fucked with Gizmo. Like, yeah.
Well, I've always wondered, like, Gizmo just wouldn't eat after midnight, but if you did somehow force feed him, do you think that he would be a good gremlin, or do you think that becoming a gremlin inherently makes you more evil?
That's a good question. I don't know that they
because I don't know, especially in the first one, I don't know that they get more, because they're already like tying Gizmo to like the train tracks and shit. It's just that when you're a gremlin, assholes. You have like, you're bigger, you have more ability, like, because the Mogwais can't really do shit.
Right. Maybe, like, who knows? Well, Gizmo does seem to be like the, he knows of the rules, so he just doesn't partake. But who knows? Maybe like just like a theory. There's literally a part where maybe
in the first one where he's giving them the fried chicken whenever they've turned off the alarm clock. And he like offers some to Gizmo, and Gizmo's like, no,
because he knows. But what if, like, even if he did, what if he's like one of the few that just can't turn into a gremlin? Like, he could reproduce.
I think a cool idea for a sequel would be either to give us another good one for Gizmo to like bounce off of, or turn Gizmo into a gremlin.
They definitely need to do that with Gremlins through like.
Honestly, I hope that it's gone so far being untouched, and I wouldn't mind it staying that way.
What like what do you mean in particular?
There hasn't been a remake, there hasn't been a sequel since the second one. Like it's been left pretty untouched by the modern Hollywood system, and I would kind of prefer if they didn't. But if they are, I hope it's good.
I mean, Gremlins 3 has been in the talks since 2015, and apparently it's still in some working phase. But yeah, I'd hope that they would. The problem is that I don't think original,
you can go back. I guess you could
originals
because I guess we're just talking about both at the same time. The first one,
sure,
is like, especially compared to the second one, is like pretty serious. The second one it's like Army of Darkness levels of like farce.
Well, what it reminded me of is Die Hard.
Yeah, because it's in the building. Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm. And it has to be shut down. Yeah, and kind of like Gremlins are like this terroristic threat.
I think I always associate it kind of with like similar to the Army of Darkness thing, because it's just making fun of the original, and it just goes full like Looney Tunes, Three Stooges.
Okay, yeah, that was a talking point I wanted to bring up. Yeah. I didn't really.
Oh yeah, what is your feeling on the second one versus the first one?
I'd say it's similar in tone.
Really?
It's just ramped up a bit. Yeah, it's ramped up a bit more. There's more at stake. It's like just Gremlins.
It is bigger. It is bigger stakes, which I enjoy that part.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think that tonally it's the same. The second one is. Like there are, like I said in the first one, there are parts that are like pretty tense. Like I'm thinking of he gives the chrysalis to the biology teacher at the school, and then it's like in the vents and stuff, and like when he's like creeping around the room looking for it, that's like it's pretty tense and like kind of creepy because we don't really know what it is yet. But there's nothing like that, and I mean it just immediately.
Yeah, I mean it is goofier.
Yeah. Which I enjoy. But I'm not saying that as a negative. I like that because I think that if it was the same, it would be boring and just be the same. So the fact that it's the same reason why, all three of the Evil Dead movies work. They're all very different in tone and in kind of style. Not necessarily style, but yeah. I like the second one a lot. Not as much as the first one, but I still think it's fucking funny.
I think I prefer the second one.
Okay, I think that's fair. I think the second one's really good. It has some of my favorite sequences in it. Like I love the talking gremlin. I think that he's
that's what I love when they're doing the same exact glasses I do.
Yeah. I love when he's doing the interview with the guy, and he's like, "We're just like people," and he's like, "You see that young guy there?" And he just shoots him. He's like, "Now was that civilized? No." And it's just like, what was your? I don't know. I love that he's smart, but he's still just a chaotic gremlin. Like.
Right.
They struck that balance with them.
I just love Gretchen.
Yeah.
That gremlin's gonna make me act up.
Is the implication at the end of the movie that guy fucks that gremlin?
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Should the third one start with their wedding? 100%.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
There we go. And then we have a good gremlin. We make her a good gremlin.
What we need to see is a human gremlin hybrid.
Oh. Maybe
that could be something. The
movie starts with their wedding, and then we get like it's a body horror movie, and we get like it's like The Fly, Son of the Fly. And they got him in like a lab and shit.
Oh yeah. That could be interesting. Maybe like delving more into like a horror, more horror imagery.
That's what I mean. I don't know what you do. I don't know if you lean into the farce of the second one, or if you try and bring it back to the original, or if you go even further and try and make it like maybe make an R-rated Gremlin movie. I don't know. That might be kind of fun. And not even necessarily that it's like scary, but like go full on with like the gore and like, I don't know, have them fucking murder people, which they do. They murder so many people.
Just balls to the wall.
Oh my God, I feel I said this kitchen sequence is my favorite sequence of the first one, but it might be when they hijack the lady's chairlift and send her through the window.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That bitch is dead.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I feel like they could just do anything. Because does anybody really care about the Gremlins property anymore?
I do.
I mean, I know you do.
Yeah.
But
no, I don't know.
Out of the 5 people in the world populace,
Yeah.
Does anybody? and what I meant by that, I didn't mean like that, but just like I don't know, like people aren't.
Yeah, people don't.
I mean,
you don't hear people talk about
two
Gremlins.
movies.
No.
Yeah, you still have those two movies and if you don't like the third one, you could just kind of separate from them. You don't have to like, you'll always have those two movies. It's not like a
sequel
iteration ruins the whole series.
Yeah, and I will watch it, but I don't know. Knowing Hollywood's track record with these kind of things, I'm not.
Absolutely.
I'm not holding my breath on a good one. But
yeah,
Red Letter Media has said that if they do a sequel, they need to make Clamp president, and they need to have it set in the White House because he's just Trump.
That's true. But I mean,
I love Clamp.
Kind of missed
in the
second
mark one. He's so
point.
funny. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I did reviews about it.
How did they get
compared to like Trump Towers?
The second one's crazy. How did they get Christopher Lee in that movie?
Oh fuck!
And Hulk
I totally forgot about that. Yeah. Christopher Lee's best performance. Gremlins 2. Yeah, that is crazy.
What did you?
Okay, they got Dracula.
Whenever you were watching the movie and the Hulk Hogan sequence happened, what did you think was happening? Were you like confused or like? Were you just?
I was just on board. I think I was just like all the insanity that has happened prior. I was just like, sure.
I showed this to a girl. She had never seen it, and I didn't even show her the first one. We just watched the second one.
Is this a first date, maybe?
When that sequence happened, I like played it up, and I was like, "Oh fuck! I think the DVD's scratched." And I like fully convinced her that like the movie had like stopped working. I felt pretty proud of that.
The Hulk Hogan scene?
Yeah, because it starts with like the film burning.
Oh,
and then they
right.
start doing that like tweet a Force Gump 7 years ago. It's funny. I don't know. And they start playing naked beach volleyball footage.
I just thought like, oh yeah, that's right, they did.
No, you're good.
I just thought of something. What would you consider the best? If you're, what would be the best first date movie you would say?
Oh, best first date movie.
Without going to see something new at the cinema.
Yeah. I think that my go-tos are either genuinely Gremlins 2 or The Neverending Story.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Because they're short and like light and fun enough that it's fine. That like if you're like talking over or like making out over it, it's fine.
Yeah, you don't have to like pay full attention to it. I would say The Princess Bride.
It's a little long, but The Princess Bride is a good one.
It's a good romance that I could sit through.
You don't want something
I
heavy
usually
for
can't
a first
sit
date.
through romance.
You don't want
movies.
like The Notebook.
Oh hell no!
And you also don't want to watch like an actual horror movie.
Right.
You want something goofy and light.
You need to strike a good balance of. Hell, you could even put on Jack and Jill.
Yeah. It's not preferred, but you could.
I mean, you can put on anything, but I think you could get by with having Jack and Jill. Because it's like, it's a movie you don't have to pay attention to, but you just see something absurd on the screen and you both can chuckle. And
exactly. That's what I did with Gremlins too. We were doing whatever we were doing, and then I'd just be like, wait, I like this part. Shut up, hold on.
Hold on, babe.
Hold on, wait. The smart Gremlin's on. I love whenever the Gremlins are like doing people things. Like I love the part in the first one where they're all in the bar and he's like, I love the second one is full of callbacks to the first one. I really like that. Like that in the first one she gets flashed by the Gremlin, and then in the second one what like triggers her to be like, no, fuck this. I'm just gonna start beating the shit out of these Gremlins is when the Gremlin flashes her again. I just think it's really fun. And I really like the moment. But then in the second one, I really like the part when they're in like the stock broker's office or whatever, and they're like, buy, sell. The smart one's like, we're recommending that all our clients put their money into shotgun shells and canned food. It's just funny.
It is good, and that's what I keep forgetting to ask you this question because JDHD is what we call it on this show. But what did you mean by Gremlins 2 just making fun of? What did you say? Making fun of the first one?
So the studio wanted to make a sequel, and they couldn't think of anyone else to direct it except Joe Dante. So they went to Joe Dante, and he said, "I will do it, but you have to let me just make fun of the original." And they were like, "Do whatever you want, Joe." And so he did. And there's a lot of things that are I mean, there's the part when they're in like the control room in the second one, and they're talking, and all the people are just talking about how like the rules for the Gremlins make no sense. No, well, yeah, that too, that they have the reviewer on. But there's the part where Billy he's like telling the people there that like they're Gremlins, and he's like explaining the rules, and they're like, well, wait, what if he gets something? What if he's eating and then he crosses a time zone? And then or what if he gets something stuck in his teeth and then he ends up swallowing it later? Is that technically called eating it? And he was like, yeah. They were just like basically just talking about like the rules of the Gremlins make no sense, and then it's just kind of fun.
Okay, I could kind of see that.
And then also in the first one, she has that great, very emotional look. I can never remember his girlfriend's name, but she has that great emotional speech about. What's the exact phrase where she's like, during Christmas times when most people are opening their hearts, some people are opening their wrists. And she like tells the story about how her dad died on Christmas. And,
right.
And then on the second one, somebody's like, oh, and on Abraham Lincoln's birthday. And she's like, don't mention Abraham Lincoln's birthday. And she was like, it was President's Day. And then they're like, we don't have time for this. Like, that's clearly, they're making fun of the emotional speech from the first one. I think that's fun.
I mean, I understand why you forget her name, because it's just like the most average. Mary? It's just Kate.
Kate. There you go.
Yeah.
And Billy isn't much better.
I don't mean to insult any Kates out there, but it's just a basic name.
Bitch name.
We didn't want to go that far in the show.
I love both these movies for different reasons, I think. And it would, if you were to, I was thinking about this whole time. If you were to ask me which one I liked the best, I genuinely don't think I could give you an answer. Because
I could give you the answer, but without saying my rating just yet, I'd rate these the same numerically.
Gotcha.
But I think I would prefer on like rewatchability.
Gremlins 2 feels brisker.
Huh?
Gremlins 2 feels.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if. You might know. I don't know if the lengths, which one is shorter or longer, but I feel like the second one gets going quicker, and then it doesn't really stop until like the very end.
Right. There's a little bit more build up and backstory.
And there's a bit more. There's a lot more variation in the.
They're both the exact same time.
Yeah.
I mean, the exact same. That is crazy.
Yeah.
1 hour 46 minutes. And I'll say the same for Gremlins 2 as with Gremlins 1. The flaw I see, it's just the Gremlin shenanigans just go on for way too long.
Yeah. I think that in this one, well, I don't mind it in either, but I think in this one I would say it's probably a little bit better because, like I said, there is more variety.
It's more warranted. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also like the fucking there were so many Gremlin puppets in this one, like.
Yeah,
like they filled that building with puppets.
Absolutely.
Which puppets do you prefer, the first ones or the second ones?
Okay, second ones, because they just have much more personality to them.
I think the first ones are like scarier and like more actually more menacing looking, but
yeah.
In terms of they're more stylized and. Yeah.
Well, what
you can actually tell them apart,
Joe
other than Spike.
Yeah. Well, what you said with Joe Dante about him just kind of just making fun of the first one. Let's make these goofier and more lighthearted. Whereas with the first one, I think you could tell he was going for something that could possibly shock, a first viewer, especially at the time of the release.
This is a completely unwarranted idea, and I've never seen this in any interviews. But, I did think when I was a kid that the reason that they came out like goofier is because it was water that was mixed with Billy's paint on his easel in the second one. Because remember, it's like they knock over his water cup he's using for his paintbrushes, and it like goes across the paint. And I thought
the janitor was fixing the water faucet.
Yes,
and it's just like
that's right. Yeah. But that nobody's ever said anything about that, and I think it's just a coincidence. But yeah, and I also like before they're gremlins, when the Mogwais are just being dicks to Gizmo. I like that in both movies. I think that's fun. They throw him. Oh yeah, it is Die Hard. He becomes Gizmo becomes John McClane in the movie. He's going through the vents.
Right.
I forgot about that.
Wait, when did Gremlins 2 come out? Because I know Die Hard. I always remember Die Hard.
It came out in 1998. Yeah, it came out right after the Batman movie.
It came out in 1990. So it could have had pulled some inspiration from Die Hard. It definitely two-year period.
Well, and yeah, I mean that would make sense. They took inspiration for Gizmo took inspiration from Rambo, right?
Yeah.
Wait. Was that the second one or the first one? That was the second one because they brought the TV in.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right.
For some reason I thought that was the first one. And the first one he's race car driving.
Right.
Sorry. I get elements from each confused.
You think you do? Well, we possibly watched both of them in one sitting, so.
Yeah, I did.
I think it's just inevitable if you watch like a trilogy or a duology in one setting. You kind of like it's kind of hard to blur the lines unless they're just radically different, like Evil Dead.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I never really have. There's like a couple things I have the problem with. Like sometimes I was like, wait, is the water mirror in the first one or the second one, or is which one has? I'm with things that are like similar like that. I'm like, which one has that? But yeah.
So is Gizmo just Howie Mandel's voice, or is there like a pitch shifter?
Is he voiced by Howie Mandel?
That's what it says, and that's what I've always heard.
I have no idea. That's very funny. I wish it was Vin Diesel. I mean, Gremlins 2 would probably maybe.
be.
I've never I've never thought about that until this moment.
Well, that's just always something I always knew about Howie Mandel is that he did
Gizmo?
The voice of Gizmo and Gremlins. Yeah.
I've never looked in the credits to see that. I've never looked that up. That's crazy.
But I guess I'll just say that. I mean, that's just him. There's no I
guess so.
altercation of his voice.
Good for him.
Howie Mandel used his Gremlins Gizmo voice for Muppet Ellipses. This is like a late night show clip I'm looking up. But yeah, I guess that's just him using his voice. What a cute motherfucker.
Go Howie Mandel.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of funny because, he's like a germaphobe. And just like the idea of like, I know there's like, I don't know where I was going with this, but just like with the Gremlins getting wet, like there's certain things they restrain from.
Dirty, yeah.
Well, not only that, but there's like they have like pet peeves, if you will. Like you can't do this, and Howie Mandel's kind of like living that life.
Rules.
Yeah, exactly. He is a gremlin.
Oh. I don't know. It's hard for me to. It's similar with Evil Dead, where it's like this is so ingrained in me as like a thing that I've loved for a very long time that like it's hard for me to like talk about each individual element without it just being me going through the movie. Like in the first one, right. I love the element of the shitty inventor dad, and like we keep cutting to the science fair that he's at. And I don't know if you noticed this, but in the background, whenever he's calling, there's like you see like a little time machine thing back there, and then it cuts back to Billy talking, and then we cut back, and the time machine is gone, and people are like running around, being like, where did it go? Like, what? In the background, like freaking out, like it worked. I just think all that stuff is very creative and fun.
Right, and I mean, even like the second one, isn't it? It's like a business,
a smart building,
like. New technologies,
yeah,
because
it's a smart
like
building
video
before smart buildings
and,
existed.
Yeah, it's just Google.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that,
it's just a Google building.
I love when she gets in the elevator and she like is like telling it what floor to go to, and then it answers in the Gremlin's voice. I think that's cool.
Oh yeah, one of the Gremlins gets like electric.
Yeah, one of them turns into an electricity monster. One of them also gets
transferred.
sunscreen in their blood and turns into a bat.
Yeah, and then it like It gets dipped in asphalt.
As a kid, I was like, why is nobody on the street stopping to like help this man? Like, that's such a bad effect. And then now it's like, oh no, New York, baby.
Hell yeah, that's just New Yorkers, man. You don't look at each other. You don't talk to each other.
You see a man getting attacked by a gremlin, you mind your damn business.
Mm-hmm. Which I think, like, you know, I grew up in the South, but I think like my mentality is like fit for like New York or something. Because I don't really have like that hospitality of like wanting to talk to strangers.
No, yeah,
like,
I think that I would be fine in New York.
Oh yeah, 100%
I could just ignore the fuck out of everybody. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I love ignoring people. That's something interesting you learned through this huge podcast.
You heard it here first. You heard it here.
Yeah.
Anti-social.
And I sound like Mike Tyson in this episode. It still hurts, by the way, just to talk like this. So just imagine if I was...
I'm sorry, man.
Enunciate. No, that's fine. The show must go on, baby.
The show must go on.
We got a lot of movies to talk about this October, so... I don't think there's much left for me to say about this.
Yeah. It's gonna be me naming things that I like about each movie at this point. I really like, in the first one, I like when they're watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I think that's cute. But then I especially love when they're watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and they're loving it. Like, that's good. I don't know. There's a lot of little things that I enjoy.
Right. And you said this was a childhood film for you?
I saw both of these when I was like very young, and I've just like watched them a lot.
So it's probably like my equivalent, like Star Wars, because I had the original trilogy and Phantom Menace on VHS, and I would just watch them on repeat as a child. Yeah. But yeah, Gremlins was never a part of that. This is my first viewing ever as a 23-year-old.
Wow. I think you were missing out. I think it. I don't know. You seem to have liked it, so.
Yeah, I liked it, but I could see like just being a child, like being much more on board with it. Yeah, just being much more on board with it.
Not questioning the lunacy.
Right, and I've seen so many films at this point, like just that film critic comes out because you see a lot of tropes.
Yeah, they're far from perfect movies, but I think they're a lot of fun. I think that's all they need to be.
They are a lot of fun.
That's all a Gremlins movie needs to be to me, is it needs to be fun. So if they make a remake or a third one or whatever, as long as it's fun, I'll be fine with it. Doesn't need to be perfect.
Right.
Just needs to have that Gremlins chaotic energy.
And I don't think these were made with the intent of trying to win an Oscar. No. So
exactly.
But for me, the first one, I enjoyed it. You heard my complaints that I thought the third act was a little bloated and could have been cut down a little bit shorter, but 7 out of 10. And I feel the exact way with Gremlins 2. I enjoyed it more, but for slightly different reasons. Yeah. I think the first act of the first one I like more than the first act of the second one, but like a movie.
The second one has a stronger back end.
Yeah, as a whole, I enjoyed it more, but I'm still gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Okay. But it's closer to an 8 out of 10 than the first one is for me.
Gotcha. I think I'm gonna give them both 8 out of 10s. I don't know that I could pick one as a favorite. Like, I don't know. Whenever I watch one, I always end up watching the other, just because I think of them as like a perfect little series, like a perfect two back-to-back movie watch. I don't know.
Yeah, makes sense. See, I mean, your opinion is validated. We're not too far off with rating these films.
No, not at all.
And I have no rose-tinted glasses for these films at all.
I try and because like in my head I'm like, oh, this is a 9 or a 10 out of 10. But like I am able to like remove my nostalgia for at least to peel it back a little bit to be like, I can recognize that this has flaws and that it's not for everybody.
Right. Absolutely.
But I still think that, especially as like a film, I think the first one is actually really solid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That might just be me.
It's a movie you could watch on both. You could watch twice in a year if you want to do it habitually or annually, because you could watch it on Halloween.
Force your friends to watch it on Halloween. Force your family to watch it on Christmas.
Yes, exactly.
And then on President's Day, you can watch Gremlins too.
Yeah. Force your coworkers to have a night or work
a nightmare on
dinner.
President's Day.
You have a work dinner with Gremlins on, like an old, just the old TV in the kitchen, like the mother was watching in the first one. I think I was gonna say something really clever, like a clever joke, but my brain's like mush right now. So
same.
I guess you'll never get it, folks.
Rats.
But we're gonna talk about Hellraiser for episode 31, and I'm super excited for that. Hopefully my ulcer heals a little bit more, so I could be more articulate about it. Because
you're excited. You want to talk about it. I still have yet to see it, so it is yet to be seen.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what you think about it.
Yeah.
Because it's been a while since I've seen it, but I knew it would be a film you would like.
Yeah,
but just
it's been
having
on my
recently
list for
seen
a while.
it again,
I just haven't gotten to it.
Yeah, just me having seen it recently again, like, oh yeah, he's gonna like definitely some parts of it. I don't know about the film as a whole. I think you'll like it as a whole, but like definitely some parts of it. I'm like, yeah, he can appreciate this.
I think I'm watching it with all of my. I think I'm watching it with all of my roommates. So tonight, so that should be pretty fun.
It's a pretty good party movie, I'd say.
Yeah. I don't know. One of my roommates was asking me if I'd seen it, and I was just like, well, I'm about to see it. And then kind of got roped into watching it with them.
Dude, you're getting too much of like these like coincidences, like planets aligning shit. One of your roommates is asking you if you've seen it, and you have to watch it for my podcast.
Okay, I'm gonna air some beef on the pod. So I rewatched the Evil Dead trilogy for the podcast, and then even after we talked about it, I was like, I kind of want to watch them again. And like none of my roommates had seen them, and nobody even out like in our friend group had seen it. So I every weekend the plan was we were going to watch an Evil Dead movie. Last weekend we watched Evil Dead 1. This weekend we were going to watch Evil Dead 2. But I guess now we're going to watch Hellraiser. But so I'm like we talked about, antisocial. I can ignore people. I don't like going out and doing things, especially because I'm busy all the time. But they always make fun of me because I don't like join them or like go out with them and stuff. And so I made plans with them. I was like, hey, we're gonna do this thing with Evil Dead and it'll be fun. And everyone was on board. And we watched the first one, and then we all went to bed. And apparently that night, one of my roommates and one of our friends just like watched the second one without us.
Oh my god!
Yeah, right. When I found that out, I like genuinely got pissed. I was like, "What the fuck? You couldn't just? What the hell?" Like,
yeah. It's something,
I'm sure.
Yeah. They're so radically different. You can't just like go willy nilly into the next one without, I don't know.
Well, and also we made plans to do it as a group. Why are you?
I don't condone that behavior.
I don't like that guy. That roommate that did that. I got beef.
But to be fair, I like the trilogy so much. I'd probably go ahead and watch the second one too that year.
Well, no, they hadn't seen it, so they didn't know.
I know, yeah, I know.
It's like Evil Dead 2 is one of my favorite movies, and like that was the one I was excited to show you guys. Because people generally, when I show people Evil Dead 1, they tend to not like it. But I feel like you have to see it in order to like fully understand and respect what Evil Dead 2 is.
You have to see it multiple times, and you have to have some context behind it to fully appreciate it, like I said in 29.
Yeah.
I wish I could watch Hellraiser with you, but then again, I'm like one of those people when I really like a film, I feel like I kind of ruin it because I'm like, oh, dude, check out this part.
Oh, I do that too.
You know, yeah.
My girlfriend has not seen a lot of horror movies, and we were watching Nightmare on Elm Street last night. And I was just like, I would just be like, oh, this part's awesome. And then I would be like, oh, sorry. The thing that's about to happen is awesome. I would just go back to watching.
Well, spoilers. This part's
going to be cool. Sorry. I'll tell you what I don't like.
Also, like,
whenever I'm watching movies with people. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Like, also, I think I ruined the movie for myself because I can't like relax and enjoy it. I have to get
remembering it.
Yeah, I have to get nerdy about it and be like, oh shit, yeah. I'm just like thinking in my head like, he's gonna like this part. It's like, dude, just watch the fucking movie. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's pretty crazy.
I hate whenever I'm like showing people a movie and then they're like asking me questions about it, and I'm like, I'm not. Oh, I've gotten to the point where I just don't respond. Like, I don't even like look at them.
Yeah.
But then they're always like, "Oh, that means it happens," and usually they're like completely wrong.
Right.
Which is the funniest.
It's
like they're like, "Oh, I bet this character dies," and I'm like, "I'm not gonna tell you whether or not that happens. You have to fucking watch the movie."
That's a big pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, I hate when people do
and
that.
And I love my mother to death, but she does that during a movie that I've seen. She's like, "Tell me what this happens." I'm like, "Mom, the movie's an hour and 30 minutes. I think you'll wait to see what happened. Let the movie tell you, not me."
I'm not bad about asking questions, but I like, as I'm like, especially for the first time, as I'm like watching a movie, I'm like trying to figure it out like it's a puzzle. Mm-hmm. And then so like when like a thing happens and I'm like, that's important for some reason, and then I like connect it to like another thing, I will like just blurt, like I'll just be like, oh, later in the movie this is gonna happen because this happened, and like I ruin it for myself. And when I'm with people, I'm bad about just saying it,
just spoiling. Like, well, okay,
but it's not like I know. It's just because I understand the language of film. I'm like, oh, they like that gun's gonna be used to shoot somebody later, like. But I'm not even talking about things like that. Like,
it's fun.
It is fun.
It's fun to do that.
That's what I like about movies. I like figuring them out. I don't know.
It's just not fun to blurt stuff like that, like in a theater.
Yeah. Well, I don't do. I don't do it in a theater.
I know. I think you probably didn't, but that'd just be funny. Just like
I'm socially aware enough.
Yeah.
That means that I got shushed in Godzilla King of the Monsters by somebody. Because I was getting too hyped in the back about the King Ghidorah fight, and so I got shushed.
Did you guys butt heads in the yard?
No, I just got quiet, and then I felt really embarrassed. Dude, I always have the worst theater experiences.
Oh, that could be an episode in itself, but I guess we can kind of conclude the episode on that.
When I went to go see Free Guy, the people sitting next to me like were so loud, and they just kept pulling out their phones, and like they were like the girl. It was like in like a nice theater, and there were like walls in front of us, like little barriers, and she kept like putting her feet on them, and then like fully extending her body and like cracking her back by like doing that like arch thing you do. You know, like whenever you wake up in the bed, you're like, ugh! But just like directly beside me while I'm like trying to enjoy a movie.
Yep,
it was weird.
I had a similar experience when I went to go see I Am Legend. I went to go see I Am Legend prematurely. I wasn't 13. But I went with my older brother, and my cousin was supposed to come with his girlfriend. But my cousin, which I was excited for, because like when it was me and my brother and my cousin, we always had a blast of a time. So I was really looking forward to that. But I don't know. I can't remember if he was sick or just something else came up, but he never came. But his girlfriend was there with her friends.
Weird.
Yeah, and we went to see it, and just the girlfriend with her friends were just on their phones. There was some drama happening, so she kept storming in and out of the theater, and they were just too loud, and I just didn't have my cousin there. It's just weird.
Bro,
it was kind of a shitty movie.
When the trailers start playing, I turn my phone off, set it in my pocket, and I'm like, ugh, I can't stand that. I think that especially because now the theaters are so expensive, they should start cracking down on the rules.
Absolutely. Yeah, just don't test someone's IQ before letting them. I'll tell you, the worst theater experience is when I go to the theaters with J Mash.
Does he not know theater etiquette?
No, I'm just kidding. No, he's perfect. I always have a blast going to the theater with him. No, he's you know how he's a film buff like us.
Yeah.
He knows how to be a good boy.
J-Mash.
I am. I was making
he's your
a little
friend.
joke if he's listening. Yeah.
I don't know J-Mash enough to bash him. I just know that he's horribly racist.
Yeah, he's just totally homophobic.
I've seen the Raw podcast files where you guys have to cut out all the things he says.
He's xenophobic, transphobic, homophobic.
Yeah. The xenophobic is weird because it's like, I like the Alien movies. I don't think they're that bad. I don't understand that.
What about Alien?
Anytime somebody says xenophobic, I know what it actually means, but I always think of xenomorph. Yeah. And then my brain's like, oh, they hate the movie Alien. Just a dumb thing.
Yeah. Well, Xena just means like.
Oh, that actually is something I want that relates back to Gremlins. The Gremlins are very similar to the xenomorphs. In the way of. Like they're how they. So the reason in the second one that they're
cocoons,
and the reason in the second Gremlins that they're able to like take in all of these things, the smart one explains is that he's like, oh, because our species is like so aggressive on like survival and like, I mean, they evolve overnight, so like they have like weird DNA. They are like easily able to like accept like outside influences, I guess. And in Alien, it's very similar where it's like. Depending on what creature they're in, they come out looking completely different.
Yeah.
And I've also always thought that the facehugger eggs look very similar to the gremlin cocoons.
That's the first thing I drew from comparison because I couldn't think of anything else. I was like, the cocoons?
And that like the idea that the xenomorphs were designed as like a weapon that you just like throw at a planet and then they just take over it.
They eradicate it. Yeah,
I mean, I could also see Gremlins being used like that, right? You just take a gremlin and you throw it in a lake and then it just fucking destroys an entire society.
I really like how in the two movies they don't go into the origins or even call them like aliens. They're just kind of I like that.
They're just some fucking creature.
Yeah, I don't like when they try to explain shit and tie things together in movie series. Like, speaking of Alien, we might talk about Alien, I don't know, on the Scoochtober. We'll see. It is definitely
that's on my list to show my girlfriend this Halloween. She's never seen it.
I have a love-hate relationship with Prometheus.
Yeah. I think that if it wasn't connected to Alien, I would love it a lot more.
Yeah. Which I do like that it's connected with Alien, but there's just some things that piss me off. But as a whole, I would say that it's too hated on.
Yeah.
And I like the direction Ridley Scott was.
It's not that bad. It's pretty good. Especially when you compare it to like Alien Covenant, which is just so bland and like nothing.
Yeah.
At least Prometheus was like, it was a miss, but at least it was a swing.
Exactly, like Ridley Scott had a vision for something new, and I could appreciate that with the engineers, which I really, really love that concept.
Yeah, I do too. Much. I also like the idea that Jesus was an engineer. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's so good, and how it all kind of ties together with the beginning shot of the first Alien, like the engineer inside that little
he throws himself off a cliff,
elephant-shaped,
Elephant-shaped.
You know, like the little thing they go into for like hibernation or whatever, the engineers.
I see. Yeah. That's
like the first shot of Alien. It kind of like wraps itself in a nice story because it's never explained, that beginning shot. So.
Well, what's weird to me,
it's so cool,
is what's weird is that's not the ship that we see in Alien.
No, it's not.
Because it doesn't. So it's like it's an Alien prequel that is like trying to explain how Alien happened, but then it doesn't. Like, first of all, we don't even get to the xenomorph, and then
until the very end.
No, and then it's
continuation.
Even then, it's not. That isn't like it's like it's not.
It's in
the
beginning stages, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like introducing. Yeah. It looks similar.
Well, and I think it would have been cool if they continued that, and I guess it's because it got so hated on. But I hate that he immediately jumped to just in the next one. He's like, yeah, now they just look like xenomorphs. Like,
well, the
first one that shows up is flesh colored, and I like that one. That one's like creepy in Alien Covenant.
It is creepy, yeah. Well, the thing was, partly due to studio interference and like backlash of not enough aliens. It's like, well, no, duh, he didn't call it aliens because he kind of wanted to separate the idea from alien. Okay, anyway, rants aside, he's like,
Alien
all right,
Covenant was supposed to be called Paradise Fallen.
Terrible title, but anyway.
I mean, Alien Covenant isn't any better.
It's not. I mean, the movie's not good.
None of the Alien titles are good except the first two. Alien and Aliens. That's a perfect two-little movie.
Yeah. I hear some people have a soft spot for Alien 3.
Alien Cubed, and then
Alien
Resurrection.
Oh my god. With the babies.
Here's what I'll say about all of the Alien movies. I don't actually think I hate any of them. I think the fourth one is the one that I dislike the most.
Yeah.
But they're
Alien versus Predator for me.
Well, those don't even enter my mind as an option.
It's still Alien property,
yeah.
Yeah. But this is kind of something interesting.
Yeah.
I never saw even as a kid, I never saw Predator as a horror film.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like one like Terminator, where it's
like Terminator. Yeah,
it's kind of a horror movie, but it's mostly action.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Predator. Predator's good.
Me too. It's such a good film.
It is.
Predator 2.
I haven't seen any. I've seen Predator, Predators, and then The Predator. The newest one. And it was dog shit.
Is that the Keegan-Michael Key one?
I think so.
Yeah.
I liked Predators though. Predators was good.
Is that the one with Adrian Brody? Like they wake up on the alien planet instead of vice versa. Yeah. I like that. Was interesting. I actually want to rewatch that because I only saw it once in theaters.
Lawrence Fishburne with the samurai sword.
Oh yeah.
Pretty badass.
Yeah, I've only seen it once in the theaters, way back in 2010, the ancient time of 2010.
Wow.
So
yeah,
it'd be interesting to have a second viewing. But yeah, I think we talked more about different properties than we had Gremlins on this episode.
I was just gonna say, there are elements of all of the Alien movies that I like. Like I really like in Alien Resurrection. I really like when they go in that room where they've been trying to make an alien from like the Ripley clones, and they're all just like fucked up. I love that sequence. In Alien 3, I like the idea that we're trapped in like a prison planet. And I like the set, but where that movie falls apart is that the alien looks like shit.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem with that one for me.
And then the thing about the first one, it's like really atmospheric. Yes. And then 2, it's like way more action ramped up. Yeah.
I really like Aliens as a pairing, like a two-parter.
Yeah. Maybe we'll delve deeper if we cover it this Scoochtober, but yeah, this has been the Gremlins episode, believe it or not.
And everything else. Everything but the kitchen sink.
What about the kitchen sink?
This is everything but the kitchen sink. Ever heard that saying?
Everything but the kitchen sink. Is that like the topic?
Yeah, it just means like they did a lot of things. I don't know. I mainly know it because in Revenge of the Sith, George Lucas was like, you know the old saying, everything but the kitchen sink? Well, in this scene, we had everything but the kitchen sink and the kitchen sink. And it's in the opening whenever they're flying to the ship, and there's a part where you can see a kitchen sink like slam into like a Star Destroyer. And he's like,
so in a humorous,
so funny.
In a humorous fashion, it's everything imaginable.
And everything comes back to George Lucas.
Yeah. It all links to Jar Jar.
It all links to Jar Jar, which probably isn't George. Do you think George Lucas had any hands in the Gremlins movies?
I mean, only if Steven Spielberg directed them.
Well, these are Steven Spielberg presents Gremlins.
I guess they are.
That's a big reason why the first one like got made, because like the studio kept coming in and being like, no this, and then Steven Spielberg was like, stop. Joe Dante knows what he's doing.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You want me to call him up?
I don't know. I hear stories about like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg like interacting on things, and it's always so funny because like I guess at the time they were both insanely creative, innovative like filmmakers, and they were like making huge waves.
They're trying to one up each other, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they worked together on Indiana Jones and stuff, and George Lucas wanted Steven Spielberg to direct. George Lucas wanted a lot of people to direct Return of the Jedi, and Steven Spielberg was one of the people he offered it to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he wanted him to direct one of the prequels as well. But like, I don't know. Sorry, I love talking about George Lucas. He's such a character.
I think you bring up George Lucas every time you're on
Did we talk about him and David Lynch last time?
We most definitely did. But like, I'm not even trying to make a joke. I think every instance that you've been on this podcast, you've brought up George Lucas in one way or another.
Yeah, like he's a character.
Which is funny. He is. He is something to unfold for sure.
Jar Jar's the key to all this.
Stay tuned. We'll have Hellraiser on the way for episode 31. Thank you all for watching this episode of the Skeet Podcast. I sound like an idiot this whole time, but whatever. Hopefully next time will be a different story.
I hope so. I hope you get better, man. Yeah. I feel bad for you.
I mean, it's not like an ailment. It's just it's a minor.
It's annoying. Yeah.
It is annoying as hell. I'd rather have like a headache.
Yeah.
And on that note, we'll end it.
Yep.